David was our first graduate from our online Private Patrol Operator Leadership and Development course. David understands leadership. David also runs a successful YouTube channel called the Security Guard Command. And in the description box below, I will leave a link to his channel. Make sure that you are subscribed to his channel. So I go to the link that David provided, and I'm brought to Reddit. I stay off as Reddit as much as I can. I depend on you guys for providing me intel on recent developments in the private security community. I just don't have patience for Reddit. There is just way too many trolls on that platform. Anyhow, I'm going to be reading one of the posts to you. And it goes as follows. This is from Mr. Derva. Mr. Derva. And hopefully somebody can send Mr. Derva a link to this video back to him so he can review this video that we're making. It says this: I'm a male supervisor and one of my guards, the only female we have at the site, calling sick, so I was covering her shift. About an hour into shift, I heard two maintenance shop guys talking about how Chocolate Thunder ain't at the shack. Not letting on right away, I chimed over the radio, asking if they could repeat that, saying it was coming through with a lot of crackling and popping. They spoke again, saying, quote, Sweet Chocolate Thunder isn't at the shack tonight, and that some tall guy was working instead. I ended up bringing up the subject with her the next time I saw her and asked if others had been making such comments, and she said it was going on for a while, but she didn't say anything since she didn't know if I'd even do something. Well, we sat down with the client contact and explained the situation, and both of those guys were terminated the very next day. That was about 4 months ago, and she hasn't had anything like that happen since then. Ladies and gentlemen, this is true leadership. This is considered doing your job. You see that there's an issue in your workplace, and you're willing to stand up against discrimination. You're willing to stand up against harassment. And it's just not about yourself. This person, Mr. Derva, spoke up in defense of his employee. He's a supervisor, and he takes his role serious. Remember, it's not him where these harassment remarks are being made towards. It's somebody else under his command. This is what I call leadership. This is what we need to look for. Now, some of you might be saying, well, this employee needs to grow some thick skin. And I disagree with you. It might sound something that's innocent, calling an employee Chocolate Thunder. If that's not her name, then don't call her that. And also, this term, this phrase is used on a radio. Now, guys, I am not a communication expert. I don't know about all the FCC laws, and if I'm wrong, you correct me. But I believe that you can get your license taken away, your FCC license, if you make remarks like this over the radio. This is just crazy. Referring to an employee as Sweet Chocolate Thunder. This needs to stop, you guys. These ridiculous remarks. Now, I have very thick skin. I mean, I happen to be half Asian, so where I work at, every once in a while, I'll get a off-color remark. People will they'll give me a Chinese joke or something like that, or just say something that's offensive to the Chinese population. And I'm not even Chinese. So sometimes they know that, and they'll throw these jokes towards me. Now, it doesn't bother me, guys. It makes my day go by a lot smoother. I love humor. I love dark humor, but this can be offensive to some people. And you shouldn't have to go to a place of work where people are referring to you as as Chocolate Thunder, and it looked like that this term bothered this employee, but she didn't feel like her supervisor would do anything about it. So just to draw a little criticism on Mr. Derva, if he's the direct supervisor, you have to make your employees feel comfortable in disclosing any workplace grievances towards you. If you don't, then they have to continue to endure this type of harassment. But now, after the fact, this employee will know that this supervisor, Mr. Derva, has her back. And she is going to communicate this confidence to all of her other employees. This is an awesome thing to do. And when you are coming out and defending your employee, you also risk yourself being retaliated against, maybe by the client or by the organization. So this is a brave step. Now, I'm assuming that Chocolate Thunder maybe refers to this employee's skin color. That's what at least I'm getting here, guys. That's how I feel. Is I'm reading this remark. It just has negative connotations, like this person is chocolate in color. This can be a dark Hispanic. This can be our black population, even Dominican Republic. But you don't refer to somebody as that. I also want to say this. So these two employees that got fired, whoever hires them runs the risk of negligent hiring. So let's just say there's some type of discrimination in the workplace. This behavior continues with these two employees that got fired. Somebody files a lawsuit. They can go back in time to this organization where they worked at and find out that they were fired for violating the workplace discrimination and harassment policies. I'll tell you this, if you hire somebody that has violated discrimination and workplace harassment policies, and this occurred within a close proximity of time, you run the risk of being sued and losing in court for negligent hiring. Negligent hiring. You knew of their background, or you should have known of their background, and the reason why they got fired because we're supposed to be doing background checks, right? Yet you continued to go through the hiring process and hire this employee. That's the way it works, guys. So that new organization is going to be fired. And if these two guys, these buffoons, if they continue to make racist remarks or discriminatory remarks or off-color remarks or harassment remarks, whatever you want to call it, if they continue to do so, and it's outside of the scope of employment, and it's outside of any supervisor's knowledge, and remember, even if it's outside of what a supervisor should know or ought to know at that point in time, you could be individually liable for harassment, discrimination. Individually liable, that means that they can go after your personal assets. Guys and gals, refer to people as their name or ask them, what would you like to be called? But don't call them Chocolate Thunder. I mean, come on. This is not acceptable. If you think that this is acceptable, calling somebody this over a radio and referring to them on a daily basis, then you're in the wrong profession. I mean, open up your own YouTube channel for comedy, and maybe some people will subscribe, but this is not right. And it obviously affected this employee because she mentioned it to the supervisor. We don't want employees to feel like, or coworkers to feel like they don't belong in the workplace, and this just makes them feel uncomfortable. This is not acceptable.